So here's the thing, right? I think I'm actually really starting to like Overwatch again, but like in a really big way. The thing is, though, I need Josh. I need you to come and help me, man. Am I just like is this just because I haven't played for a long time, or is it like?
I need you to explain this to me. How?
Yeah.
Like, I would understand if like the PTR patch rolled out and you were like, "Oh man, Overwatch is so much fun again. Oh, I'm enjoying myself so much." But we're still in double shield. What's going on, Sty? What's happening?
Well, I'm just playing on the PTR. I think that's the reason. Right? But here's the thing, right? I don't know if this is just because I haven't been. I don't want to say like I fell out of love with Overwatch, but I sort of like. It went through a period of not a lot of content, did it? Let's be real. Like, leading up to BlizzCon, then sort of the whole BlizzCon thing of, yes, we're going to get Overwatch 2 at some point. And then we were like, well, okay. I think what I did was, as well, I sort of looked at the stuff that was announced at BlizzCon and maybe looked a little bit deeper at the stuff which was coming to Overwatch specifically and not Overwatch 2, and there's all the discussion of maybe there's going to be one new hero, you know, and stuff like that before Overwatch 2 launches. And I think it kind of put me on a bit of a downer. But then we get the PTR patch, and I don't know, I think my question to you, Josh, is why would is it just the PTR patch?
It could just be the PTR patch, but I think there's a very important thing that is happening when you play on the PTR, right? And I've noticed it as we've been doing it as well, playing on my stream, twitch.tv/OneAmongstManyTV. We do it every Friday at the current point, messing around on the PTR. And it's that rank doesn't matter, right? But it's so invigorating to go in and just play this game, because we both have that mindset of we want to play this seriously. We want to get good. We want to, like, play well and win games and improve and learn and grow, but sometimes you just need to like step back and just have some fun and just like mess around with the game as a system, and the PTR lets you do that. You can't do that in competitive. Competitive is so serious. It's like if you start messing around, everyone's going to get angry at you, and they probably should get angry at you. But because we've been doing this stuff on the PTR, it's like the patch is more fun. There's more individual skill involved in this patch, I feel, and it's easy to cut loose. It's easy to just go, oh, I just want to try this. I just want to see how this goes. I'm going to go on a mad flank. I'm going to go and try and EMP the Reinhardt and set up a beautiful high noon play. I'm going to go and do a million and one other things I can try and do that I wouldn't do normally in competitive because it's wasteful or it's too risky or it's all those things.
Do you think it could be a little bit deeper, though, that the way the devs appear to be balancing the game now, especially like reducing the power of barriers and stuff like that, do you think it could just simply be that's something I really agree with? So I'm like, okay, this is a good change and I like what you're doing, guys.
It definitely improves hero viability in terms of like, oh, well, before if you tried to play Ashe, then all you could do is like throw dynamites and set up bombs, because shooting at people, well, there was no one to shoot at. And it's like there's just more things to do as well. There's more fun things to do in the game. There's more things to like run around with. It's more mobile, it's more agile, it's faster paced. It's not just clicking on a big red transparent window, basically, which is what you were doing before, or at least what it felt like when you're playing competitive. And pushing away from that, it does feel so good. It feels so much nicer when you can just go and play your hero and you get a chance to do that. Unless you're playing Zen and there's a Doomfist on the other team, but that's neither here nor there, then it's like, yeah, you get to play the game. And playing the game.
Yeah, like, oh, it's really confusing to me, because I feel like, you know, every time there's like a major balance patch, even if like maybe you don't agree with the patch, it changes the game up in a different way. Everyone jumps on PTR. I guess roll queue was the biggest example of this. I just exclusively played on PTR at that time. I didn't play on live at all because the game was just unplayable on live, because we could see what we were going to get on PTR. And it was fun, it was great. We also got Sigma came out as well straight away, so we've got roll queue with Sigma when it all hit the live servers. There's a lot of new stuff going on there. You sort of get this like reinvigoration to play Overwatch again. It's like, whoa, and then a few weeks later you're kind of back to square one. And is that going to happen like again? Am I going to suffer from that again? Oh no.
I think some of it does come from, like, you mentioned that, you know, oh, you took a little bit of a break, and like I've done the same thing every so often. I mean, we've been involved in this game for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
4 years of our lives. So stepping back from it every so often and just sort of reassessing is super, super important. And yeah, sure, eventually you might burn out a little bit a couple of months down the line, but there's nothing wrong with just like either just going and playing only a couple of games a day, or going and playing a bunch of quick play or something like that, just to kind of refresh yourself, I suppose, and sort of get away from the grind that competitive can turn into, where you just start obsessing about, oh, I've got to play this game for the sake of playing this game, I've got to just keep on grinding and grinding and grinding, because if you stop playing Overwatch for a week, like, all your skill can go out the window very quickly.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
it is a bit of a balance, but you got to kind of accept that for just your own health, right? We play games for fun, and so it should be fun.
I know, but it's weird how it's like really come back like in a massive way. It's like, oh yeah, this is really fun to play. I'm really enjoying it on PTR. When it goes live, in fact, I have played the odd game on live on my support account, but I haven't really like sat down and played it for hours and hours on end. I have with the PTR. I think it is the combination of, yeah, this is new stuff. You're getting to see what's going to happen hopefully this week, although I'm kind of feeling that it's going to be with the Winter Wonderland update, which is probably next week, which is a bit of a big unlucky. But I think it's just fun, right? And I think this comes back to the idea of having a meta refresh fast. Because even if it's a bad meta, it's still a new meta, and it's still, well, it's new. So you enjoy playing it. Then when it becomes bad, I think that's when the developers need to jump in and start making changes a bit faster. What I'm hoping is that they're starting to do that now. This patch, though, I think what's really got me with this patch is they're addressing barriers. And barriers, and the way that they're addressing them is, it's not just we're putting a minor nerf onto Reinhardt's barrier or whatever. We're going to change all of the primary barrier tanks, with the exception of Winston. Of course, got the buff recently on PTR. But everybody else gets a nerf. And then you can see what they're doing with the nerfs. They're pushing the tanking power from these tank heroes onto their activatable abilities and not just their barriers. So this gives you like an interesting new dynamic. And Orisa, I don't think Orisa's that fun to play on live, right? She's okay. She has her moments where you can get people in like wonderful halts, and you get combos with your Hanzos using their Dragon Strike, or, you know, whatever. Like maybe you've got a Hog and you get the Hulk combo. It's beautiful. But on PTR, she's got this. The change to her on PTR, what I'm starting to sort of fall into is, instead of putting your barrier down first and letting your barrier get destroyed, and then you use Fortify, and then you put another barrier down, and then, you know, you use Fortify kind of thing. Now, it's like you start tanking with Fortify. When you, like, imagine the fight breaks out, right? So, obviously, you know, if you were set up in a defensive position, your barrier will be deployed, whatever. But when the fight breaks out, it's like I'm using Fortify to effectively body block damage. Then I'm dropping down my barrier. Then Fortify, because the cooldown reduction comes up quicker, and my barrier has got less health, gets destroyed quicker, and this is the key thing. Everything happens quicker. Then I'm popping Fortify again. I feel like it's really involving. It's like, oh my god, I'm using loads of abilities, and it feels like that rhythm. Yeah. And it feels really good. And what's making me crazy here is it's Orisa, and Orisa's boring as hell to play on live. Yet this little change has made it really fun to play. And Ryan's the same, right?
Yeah, it's a really big thing. It's like one of these things with Overwatch that's always been a problem, which is like, how much individual power does a hero have compared to the rest of the team? Like, this is very true of a lot of the Blizzard games, like Heroes of the Storm especially, and Overwatch both have this problem/thing where it's like, it is so team-based. You don't have that individual power to like go out and explode out and do a ton of different things, but it feels like they have pushed a little bit more power into those individual tanks. Like you were about to mention, Reinhardt, you have that extra movement speed, you feel so quick, you can go places, you can get closer, you can start hitting people with your hammer. It doesn't matter that you have less barrier, because you cross the ground much, much faster, and then you're fighting, you're doing the fun stuff with Reinhardt, which is brawling and smashing people around and having a great time doing that, and suddenly it's a lot more engaging and a lot more fun. And it's so much more exciting, and hopefully, I hope that they take out of this patch that people want to play heroes that aren't going to be completely dependent on other heroes at all times. Like, one of the big frustrations of playing a tank is when it feels like your team's just not there, but when you have more individual power, well, hey, now you can start doing more on your own, you can create opportunities, you can take more space, you can do tank things, not like GOATs where the tanks were doing the DPS job at the same time, but you can do tanky things while still like having fun and still not being completely dependent on other people following you quite as much. And that's good.
That's actually, yeah, that's a really interesting point. That is, maybe that's what they're finally trying to do, is make tanks, DPS, and support. Which sounds really crazy when you say it that way, but that really does make sense. Because yeah, what's the point of a tank? Well, a tank makes space to allow the DPS to thrive, and the supports allow the tanks to make the space. But I mean, I guess that's a very simplistic way of describing it, but we've been through a period in time which is like 2 years really of Overwatch. Well, maybe not 2 years. I don't know, maybe it has actually, because
there was a brief window when Roll Q first came out where Overwatch kind of stabilized back to how it used to be a little bit, when like people realized that McCree was like buffed into insanity. Still kind of is buffed into insanity, but ever since barriers have kind of taken over and everyone knows what happened then. But yeah, the issue is that healing is inflated, tanks have got tankier, and as a result, the DPS can't DPS anymore, so the tanks are doing the DPS and the healers sometimes are doing the DPS in Zenyatta's case, or in Moira's case, and it's like it got really, really muddy. Now it feels like they're centering that power again back on these heroes. But I do want to touch on one other thing that you mentioned very quickly, which is the idea of like new patch is exciting. I don't know if you've glanced over to another game at the moment, but Dota 2 has just had a massive patch that has like massively disrupted and changed the game. Now, I don't think anyone's asking for that in Overwatch, because that's just how Dota 2 does its patches. They get nothing, 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 and then the game is completely different. And so,
Ice Frog the legend.
Yeah, it's insane. Like the changes in there are crazy. But one of the things, like I was discussing this with our buddy Miska the other day, and he just asked me, and I'm sure this is probably going to go into an Overwatch Central or Hit Scan video at some point as well. He said, like, what is the one thing you want out of Overwatch? If you could have one thing in Overwatch that you could change, what would it be? And I just said faster patch changes. Like, I think just changing it, and it's almost, I know people don't like change for
Jeff this.
Yeah, change for the sake of change.
I literally, Miska was there with me. I was like, patch the game quicker.
Yeah.
I said, it doesn't matter. This sounds really crazy, but I was like, it does not matter what is going on. Just make balance updates quicker to the game. Even if they're more extreme balance updates, if you revert them, if they're terrible, people kind of won't mind, right?
Hopefully, but then you also get the issue of like, oh, they nerfed my favorite heroes, so now I won't play them. But what's happening now is, oh, my favorite, like, I like playing a bunch of hit scan heroes as a DPS player. Well, I haven't been able to play hit scan heroes in what it feels like way too long. Like, they just haven't been meta. So it's like, I would be fine just having them sit out for a month rather than having them sit out for barrier meta, goats meta, and all these other metas that last like 6 months.
Right, I guess that's actually a good point to wrap up on there, because you know I'm pretty sad and I like Soldier 76. I've not been able to play him for 2 years. So it's like, great. Because of, oh dear. So it would be nice to see, like, you know, changes in balance, which affects what heroes can kind of be played or be played effectively. Because it always comes back to the thing with Overwatch is, why would you play, even though I enjoy Soldier, and yeah, sure, you can play whatever hero you like, I've always got this niggling thought in the back of my head of, well, actually, I shouldn't really be playing Soldier here. I should be playing McCree, or I should be playing something else, or Hanzo probably, because it's just way more effective. And so that's what I would do. And then that kind of takes away my enjoyment from the game. I guess as well, one really little quick thing I can maybe touch on is, what I do like on the PTR as well is the fact that you can play deathmatch while you're waiting for a game.
Ooh, yes.
And I think that actually has a lot of benefits. Not just like, oh, you're keeping warmed up before the next game, but it mentally resets me, I've found, where I'm just going into deathmatch and just enjoying myself. And then, oh, look, I'm popped into a queue. Off we go again. I think that's a much needed break, that is. And also, it means that you do something instead of sitting there looking at a timer. All right, guys, let me know, and Josh know, what you think about this in the comments below. Have you been, are you starting to fall back in love with Overwatch again? Or are we just like, I don't know, have we gone crazy? Let us know, ladies and gentlemen. Josh, where can we find you?
Twitch.tv/OneAmongstMany. I already did the plug earlier on. And Twitter at @one_amongstmany. Otherwise, yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys. Don't forget to hit smash that like button. And
oh, baby.
The bell and, I don't know, lobby against Copa or something so that YouTube doesn't shut down. Right, I'm out.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Toodaloo.